Hi guys, I'm here today in Volvo P1800 Nirvana land with a gentleman named Jamie, who is a oh, show me your left shoulder, Jamie. There we go. He's very confused. He's got the RCMP and he's got Victoria Police on here, so I think he's probably done both by his reputation. Jamie's kindly agreed to show me around the projects he's working on, and we may be following another project besides the one that's in the garage right now. So anyway, welcome to the show. Thanks for having me. Okay, so let's look around. Tell me all about this.
Sure, this is a 1964 Volvo P1800s. I own, I hate to admit, 4 of these now. I've been bitten by the bug. I'm addicted, I admit it. So I show a 1968 1800s, a green one, and it's currently sitting in the Volvo dealership in downtown at Hillside and Douglas in Jimmy Pattison's showroom, the Volvo showroom, next to all the new cars. So I had that car at a car show about 2 years ago, and someone came up to me and said that they walk their dog every day and they walked by an old 1800s that's rusty and is sitting in a woman's yard, and it's been there ever since he's been in the neighborhood, never moved and it had to be 20 years. So that piqued our interest. So Bob and I, a friend of mine, and I went over and visited, saw the house. He brought it up on Google Maps, and when we looked at the Google Map page, you could see the car parked in the driveway. So we went over and visited the woman. Very nice. She was a little hesitant allowing us. She said, people look at this car all the time, I don't want to sell it. And the car was rough, and it was almost growing into the ground, her driveway. So we came back the next day with our cars. Bob has a 61 P1800, and I took the green one. We went and visited her to show we were serious. And she finally came out, and we had quite a chat about the car, what her intentions were to do with it. We just sort of pointed out that the car is not going to be worth anything pretty soon. And after a short conversation, she said, if you promise not to sell the car for parts, you can have it. So I don't know if that was a good idea or not. So we took the car, brought it back here, disassembled it over a period of time, took the body, it needed a lot of body metal work, took it up to a friend of mine, Leonard's place up in the Highlands. He does some work for me, and he did the metal and body and paint. And we brought it back to the original. It's paint code 46, which is the Volvo red, and pretty well we're about 3/4 of the way finished right now. There's not, I mean, I can depends how detailed you want. I've done most of the work. Bob and I have done ourselves. A couple of things as you get older, you realize there's certain things you can't do. Installing the glass in these is real tricky. You've got to take the rubber was all perished, so the rubber seals around the glass. You have to put the chrome in first, then put the glass in. And we tried to put the rubber on, just on the glass, and you've got to have the tools and the know-how. And this old glass, you never know what's going to happen. So yeah, I had a couple of mobile guys from Superior Glass came over, and they put the glass in front and back.
This is your filler cap right here, right?
Yeah, I've got the keys in the drawer, but it's this is the classic spring loaded, and it pops up. Fill in there. The later ones, it was on the side.
How many liters is the tank on these things?
I'm not sure the size of the fuel tank. It's a motor.
50 liters.
Yeah, it's a big tank. That's a new tank.
That's a new tank.
Yeah, the one I took out, I realized why it wasn't running anymore, but it had a huge hole in the side. But there's a new tank, new fuel sending unit. This has just all been scraped and painted, and it looks good. This isn't Dynamat, it's cousin that we got at Lordco. But the original jack, all the little things that make the car valuable. These ones, the early 60s, were a little bit different. They have what are called side outriggers here, the steel support posts that go out and hook onto the outside of the bumper to hold the sides of the bumper.
Oh, I see.
There.
Yeah.
I had most of the chrome done except this. It's a little pitted, but that'll come. That's another project for another day. But
Right. So there's that outrigger comes through the body there, right?
On the side.
And then there's a rubber fitting on there. So that looks like a new rubber fitting on there.
Yeah,
so
they're pretty well new rubber there.
where do you get that stuff from?
You get it from a guy named Olaf Malberg in Delta, and he is the Volvo guru for Western Canada
So you
and
can
the
actually
US.
buy that stuff.
You can. Well, he has contacts in Sweden, and they a lot of original Volvo parts, and you become pretty good at finding them on the internet. And that's half the fun, is the search, trying to find the parts.
I see.
The car originally, I mean, there's a whole history behind it, but it is referred to in the vernacular as a poor man's Ferrari. And it's an Italian-inspired design, and if you see them at a distance, they are a beautiful car. The doors are covered in over there. They've all been painted, and the glass and everything is installed. The hood is over there also, all covered up.
Oh, I see. Okay. Let's have a look around here.
I'm just starting in on the rear brakes, so that's why that's
Okay.
the way it is.
Did you get this stuff?
No,
ready?
just cleaned and reinstalled. Yeah, it's a little dusty here at the moment, but believe it or not, the paint is quite good. Yeah. The interior is, gutted, cleaned. That's about all I've done. I put some undercoat down here for rust protection, and we'll end up painting the whole thing red. I've got new carpets to go in, and the dashes are quite notorious and they're probably one of the most attractive things about the car. The blue inserts inside, all the gauges are there. This is a very complicated water temp gauge.
Wow.
Up and down.
Right.
Yeah. So the oil temp gauge has what are called I call them Borlean tubes that run in through the dash down to the block. And what a lot of people do, they don't know what the lines are, and they think they're wires, and they just cut them.
Oh my goodness!
And then you have to put in another water sensor or an oil temperature gauge. So they cost a fair bit of money. You can buy them brand new for about $400, or you can get them. There's a guy in Vancouver, a former watchmaker, that fixes them.
Wow,
I put mine on the road in '91. It's a '61, and I had my gauges rebuilt. And 2017, they're still going strong, no problems.
That's awesome. Really reliable cars.
Well, once you get them up and running.
Yeah. Well, you must know everything
Well,
about
you get
these
to
things
learn,
by
you
now,
get-
right?
You get to find people who are good at certain trades. The interior's been gutted and cleaned, pretty well just cleaned. Put
Metal
back.
looks good on this car.
Yeah, this was this is about the only part wasn't removed. This top strip.
Yeah.
Yeah, because to get it off, you have to sort of pry half the body off to get it off. So I just left it on and taped it, and he painted it around.
Okay.
The glass just cleaned and put back new rubber.
It's nice new rubber.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's really good.
Yeah.
It's very clean.
So not much here. This is the famous 4-cylinder 1800cc motor. This is a '64 model. Later on in '72, Bob, they went up to a bigger engine called B20. But believe it or not, that's as close to the colors I could find of the heater box.
That's the heater box,
yeah,
right? You got the brakes here.
Yeah,
there's no. It's manual steering.
Yeah,
right?
manual.
Of course
yeah,
it is. That's
big
right.
time.
Because
Yeah.
Peter's what it was too when I drove.
Sure.
It out. Little radiator, a pretty small radiator.
Yeah, they are fairly small. That's they got a little different. They've been different over the years.
Just go around.
And there's not a ton left to do in the car, but it takes time. We had fun. The trouble is, I look at every piece of this car, and it's 2 weeks up here.
Right.
That took 3 weeks to do. The horns that's still a work in progress. They've got dual horns in these cars. The carburetors will go on, and they've been rebuilt by Reese Kent. He's a local carb expert in town, and Bob and I'll probably put those on. And Reese said he'd come over and tune them.
What carbs are they?
1.5 inch SUs.
They're sort of tucked away up on the cabinet. That's about it. The VIN code, interesting. It's everything is very accurate for the car. The motor, gearbox, everything is original to the car. We took the heads to a local G&B Auto. And they did the heads, put hardened seats in it so we can burn unleaded gas.
Well, these are not like vintage Chevys and Fords where there's always a different engine somebody put in at some point, right?
Well,
yeah.
I'm kind of over that issue of matching. It just happens to be, which is nice. That's not the end of the world. Unfortunately, the glass in this thing, whoever, I don't know if she must have run it dry for a long time with wipers because it's carved some wiper initials into the glass.
Oh, I see.
I've tried to polish it out, it won't go out, but I've got a replacement windshield.
Wow. So you're taking care of a lot of details here.
Lots of odds and ends. Heater. There's a lot of quirky things about these Volvos. There's a pretty robust chrome grille that sits in here, and there's vents underneath the dash that you open to get fresh air into the car, and then down below here, if it rains, so the water goes in, they're weep holes here, drain holes. You have to really ensure they keep clean, and then they drain down with 2 tubes that run down and then spill out onto the road.
Oh, I see.
For rainwater and that.
I remember the controls. Yeah, underneath the
they're
dash.
underneath the
They just
dash.
kind of hang in there, right?
The air that isn't used goes down the A-pillar and down the rocker panel.
Yeah.
And there's 7 drains on each side where the inner and outer skins come together. They left little openings, so the air, any water that goes down there, eventually the air will go through, dry everything out. And the trick is, every spring, take a piece of wire, make sure the holes are clean and not full of dirt. The dirt will hold the water and they'll rust out.
Of course, right.
If they're kept clean, they'll last for centuries.
How's Victoria for keeping cars like this?
Well, most of us don't drive them in the wintertime. You know, cars like this are, I hate to say they're toys, but they're, a lot of people use them as daily drivers, but there's no saying that these things started to rust the moment they left the factory. Because if you look, there's no liners on the wheels. The
wheel wells?
Yeah, wheel wells. The dirt and mud goes right up into the wiring and right up into some of the undercarriage. So, it makes a mess. So you got to keep things clean. These are the original calipers, but of course all built with new pistons, new lines. In here, there's a vacuum tank in behind this splash panel that gives you the vacuum to run the servo for the brakes. It's a bizarre engineering design. A lot of people don't even put the servos back in here; they just bypass the lines, and you lose 10% of your braking, but it's still brakes are good. The servo, there's a line right here.
Right.
This line right here. You can see the end of it. It goes through the wheel well down in behind the splash panel. There's an oval tank that's in there that's sealed.
Okay.
Everything's ready to go. I've got a carpet set ready to go in eventually. The seats I got leather seats. I had them done at Styles Upholstery in town, and they're in my basement. The crawl space. They'll go in. The time is right.
What's your best guesstimate for when you might have this one done?
2 weeks ago. It'll be.
You say 2 years?
It'll be probably in the midsummer, late summer. It's hard to say.
2019, you mean?
Yeah, you never know. There's no rush.
I'm kidding.
I shudder to, as I mentioned earlier, I shudder to think if I had to pay somebody by the hour to do this work, because it can be expensive. But if you're doing it yourself, my time is free. It's just parts, and you can roughly calculate the money you have into it. I haven't run the final total yet, but the body and paint work is the stuff that couldn't cost you money.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great. Well, do you want to go and hop in and we'll go and look at the other
Sure,
car?
we'll hop in my car if you want.
Yeah.